Hecs stealth screen may be considered by some to be one of the most controversial pieces of hunting technology to come about in recent years. When Hecs was launched back in 2010, the skeptics were many and vocal. Social media and hunting forums were buzzing with a lively debate on the subject. Hecs technology is based on proven scientific principles. However, developing a functional product and proving to sportsmen how it could be applied to help them get closer to animals and to increase success in the field was a daunting uphill battle. Throughout human history, mankind has always been skeptical of anything they didn't understand, and Hecs technology was no different. Through it all, Hecs has weathered the storms of controversy which were created largely by those who had no experience with the phenomenon, and has steadily converted skeptic after skeptic. This episode details the journey of Hecs technology, from conception to development, and from a small startup company to a thriving multi-million-dollar business. Welcome to Hecs Technology, the story behind the breakthrough. Hecs technology was first introduced to the public in 2010, but the Hecs story starts much earlier. Years of study, testing and development led to the scientific breakthrough that has become recognized as a technology that is truly changing the way people understand and interact with all kinds of animals. The original concept really came from a basic question that every wildlife enthusiast knows. Why is it that when an animal gets close, it is usually not long before we can see their body language change from calm to more alert? Even when the wind is right, the person is completely still, being totally silent and fully camouflaged. From this simple question, Hecs founder Mike Slinkard and his team began the search for a suitable answer.
I grew up in extremely rural eastern Oregon, and from a young age, I was around wildlife and other animals almost every day, and I had a passion to get as close as possible, which taught me to understand the body language of animals. My father got me into bow hunting at a very young age. This sport requires a hunter to get extremely close and remain undetected while doing so. Also, my grandfather and uncle were old-time cattle ranchers, and they knew animal behavior at its most basic level. They knew what every move meant and how that animal was going to react. Those old-timers would tell you straight out that an animal could sense a lot more than just sight, sound, and smell. They could tell when you were anxious, scared, excited, or even that you were there at all. I was taught early on that wildlife could do the same, especially when you get in close.
It was from this background that Mike's quest to better understand the mechanics of this phenomenon was born. Mike and his team began vigorous research on possible causes for this uncanny sixth sense in 2006. They looked at many possibilities, but soon one particular direction of scientific research began to stand out. Biologists had begun to develop a greater understanding of how many animals, birds, and fish navigate. Researchers discovered that the internal compass of many species is actually being driven by the extreme low-frequency electromagnetic fields of the Earth. This is the force that guides many animals in their migrations of thousands of miles in some cases, enabling them to return to the same area year after year. Electroreception in some fish species is also well understood. These species are picking up on the extreme low-frequency fields emitted from other living beings in their environment. When Mike and his team dug deeper, they discovered that the electromagnetic fields produced by the Earth are very similar to those produced by living beings through heart rate and muscle movement. That is when the proverbial light bulb came on. Could it be possible that many species are using the same mechanism that they use for navigation to detect the proximity of other living beings in their environment? Today, we are chronicling the history of Hecs Technology. The team at Hecs knew that many animals, birds and fish use the Earth's electromagnetic field to navigate. They theorized that the very similar field given off by the human body could be detectable to these animals, might be the cause of an animal's uncanny ability to detect our presence when there was no other explanation. What we commonly refer to as an animal's sixth sense. Science had already proven that several species used electroreception to detect prey animals, so why couldn't prey animals use it to detect predators? Hecs founder Mike Slinkard was fortunate to have a great team at his disposal. Early on, he knew the perfect person to head up this project was his good friend, Scott Eastman.
We felt that our theory was valid, but to really prove our concept, we realized that we needed to find a way to block the electrical output of our bodies. The most proven mechanism to do this was pretty easy to find and understand. The most effective way to block any electrical field is by employing the Faraday cage principle. In simplistic terms, you need to have a grid made of a material that is more conductive than the area around it and is sized and shaped in such a way that when a specific wavelength of energy contacts the grid, it cannot pass through, but rather is caught up in the grid. That energy is stored in capacitance and drained off whenever the grid touches ground. The concept was proven, but we needed to develop that into a new fabric. Fortunately, I knew the perfect person for the task.
When I was approached by Mike to develop the technology, I could see that this thing was going to be very difficult to do, and it was going to be a challenge. I'd never seen anything like it before. I went straight to work on development, and after several tries, came up with the original stealth green fabric. This fabric, it tested out positively on the EMR meter, and it had sufficient conductivity for land use.
Once the fabric was developed, testing began in earnest. Test garments were thoroughly vetted by several outside studies, as well as by the team at Hecs. Independent field tests were conducted with many different species of animals, birds and fish. They concluded that there was a marked difference in behavior when Hecs technology was employed. Animals, by and large, were more relaxed and in many cases never realized the person was there. Hecs filed for and received 5 US patents and has multiple international patents either issued or pending. Hecs is extremely proud of the fact that it has strongly issued intellectual property, backing up this important technological breakthrough.
I'm Forrest Galante, wildlife biologist, and today I'll be demonstrating how the Hecs technology works by using an instrument that is designed to measure the human energy output. This tri-field meter specifically picks up on low-frequency currents, such as those produced by muscle movement. Hecs technology has utilized the Faraday cage principle to block the body's naturally occurring electrical energy. A Faraday cage is a grid of conductive material. When energy strikes the surface of that material, it is transmitted and dispersed, preventing energy from passing through. The electrons are stabilized and held in capacity. This is the same technology that exists at home in your microwave door and prevents you from harmful radiation. Hecs has woven a conductive carbon yarn grid into a comfortable, wearable fabric. Now when I come over here to the tri-field meter, you can see as I wave my arm over it, the meter picks up on my electrical energy signal. If I were to cover the meter with a regular camouflage material, it actually does absolutely nothing to insulate against that energy signal. However, when I replace that with the original Hecs camouflage material, you can see the energy signal is now completely held at capacity and the meter is unable to detect me. Hecs also makes an extremely comfortable new base layer, which of course also has in it the conductive carbon yarn Hecs technology. When putting that over the meter, once again, I am now completely imperceivable electrically. What you have seen here is the Faraday cage principle in action. This technology is found in all of our Hecs products. That includes our Hecs underwater range. Being able to interact with both marine and terrestrial life without them perceiving your electrical energy signal allows you amazing up-close personal interaction and leaves a smaller footprint on the environment. Whether you're a photographer, a hunter, a scientist, a conservationist, or just a general outdoor enthusiast, Hecs Technology is the perfect technology for you. It allows you to get closer and have more natural, organic interactions with animals.
The original Hecs suit is very lightweight, breathable, and versatile enough to be used in almost any hunting situation. It comes complete with pants, shirt, and head cover, and is available in either Mossy Oak Country or Realtree Extra Camo. The material features a highly electrically conductive carbon grid woven into the polyester base cloth. This grid blocks your body's electrical field. The suit is designed to be worn under your regular camo or over the top as an outer layer. The technology is effective either way. The pants are cut similar to sweatpants, with an elastic waistband, adjustable drawstring, elastic cuffs on the bottom, side pockets, and a convenient fly. The pullover shirt features thumb holes, serge stitching, and an embroidered logo. The head cover has a laser-cut eye hole, adjustable drawstring in the back, and is very easy to use. Additional accessories are sold separately and include the Hecs hat, made entirely of Hecs material and is very lightweight and comfortable. The gloves are made of a lightweight, stretchy material in Mossy Oak camo with the Hecs technology woven in. The socks are a heavyweight over-the-calf sock and have the conductive Hecs grid woven into the material. You can find out more about our complete line of clothing and accessories on our website at hecsllc.com.
Considered by some to be one of the most controversial pieces of hunting technology to come about in recent years, the development and distribution of Hecs to users in the field has been a major challenge, but one Mike Slinkard and his team at Hecs met with great enthusiasm.
When we introduced the technology to the hunting market, it was a completely new concept and to some seemed like a pretty radical idea. At first, needless to say, we were hit with a lot of skepticism.
Even though most hunters had seen the animal reactions caused by their electrical output, most of them didn't understand the cause, and some just didn't want to believe it at all. Fortunately, we found a few thousand open-minded people who purchased the product and gave the technology a try. I had seen Hecs in action myself for years, and I knew in my heart that once people put the suit on to test the benefits for themselves, it would be very apparent and their success rate would increase dramatically.
Soon, we began to get testimonials, pictures, and videos from guys all over the world. They were raving about Hecs technology and how it completely changed their outlook on animal interaction. I soon came to realize that the only skeptics of the technology were those who hadn't actually tried it. And that still holds true today. We have sold tens of thousands of suits to hunters, divers, researchers, photographers, and even fishermen. And the satisfaction rate is absolutely unheard of. And that says a lot about the product and how the technology works. Here we are again from the NWTF show here in Nashville, and we have another Hecs testimonial. Never get tired of this stuff. It's our fourth year, and we are covered up with people telling us their Hecs story, and here's another one. So tell us a little bit about what happened.
Yeah, I started out like anybody else, Mike, a skeptic. When I first saw the TV show and went on the internet, clearly it's kind of like, yeah, I'm not sure that really works. But I figured if it helped me in the woods, then I'd give it a shot. I was set up on a turkey one day and had birds landing there on the tip of my gun. Clearly they were not concerned with my presence at all. You're not sure you believe it until you have those types of experiences, but I've had some fun in the woods with it.
Yeah, well, that's what we hear all the time. When it came up at first, he says, strange stuff happens when you wear Hecs. And I go, yeah, we hear that all the time.
And there was 3 raccoons, a mama and smaller ones, and they were just milling around looking for something to eat. and then another larger one came in, and he milled around, and I went ahead and set up my stool like you do. They didn't pay any attention, and I sat there and I called the gobbler. He came in, I shot him, and the coons ran over and jumped on my bird. And then when I went, I thought, well, I can't let them take my bird. I mean, they're hard to come by some days.
Sure.
And I went over and I grabbed the legs of the bird, and this larger coon had a hold of it, and he growled at me like,
Really?
"This is my bird, you're not getting it." And when I spoke to him, he knew that I was real or something, and all of them took off.
Yeah.
And it was, I just couldn't believe it, because I've been around raccoons at a distance, and they're very spooky.
Oh, yeah.
My most memorable hunt of this year is I had a deer come in. He came down the wrong trail. He actually came down the trail that I walked in on, and he was up at 7 foot, and he didn't even see me. He was looking right at me. He saw my camera equipment and looked at it, and then he looked at me and couldn't tell what I was. I attribute that to Hecs. He could not, feel me or sense me at all. I actually had to wait about 10 minutes for him to walk out to about 18 yards to make a real good ethical shot. And I was sitting in a chair in the open woods.
That's the way we like it. Now you're hunting like me, sitting in the wide open. Well, hey, again, this is our 4th season here at the NWTF, and every year it just builds. We don't have anybody that's skeptical about Hecs if they've tried it. The only skeptics are those that haven't. So here's another testament. Thanks, Lori. I appreciate you coming by.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
The newest addition is our base layer. The base layer is a lightweight, semi-thermal material designed to be worn under your regular hunting clothing when you need just a little bit of extra insulation. It features the patented Hecs technology woven right into the material. The suit comes in 3 pieces: pants, shirt, and head cover. The shirt is a quarter-zip Henley with serge stitching, embroidered Hecs logo, and thumb holes. The form-fitting pants have serge stitching throughout, and an elastic waistband and cuff ensure they stay in place. They also feature a convenient fly. The head cover has a laser-cut eye hole, adjustable drawstring in the back, and is very easy to use. Additional accessories are sold separately and include the Hecs hat, gloves, and our new heavyweight over-the-calf sock. You can find out more about our complete line of clothing and accessories on our website at hecsllc.com.
In the years since the launch, Hecs Technology has been accepted and used prominently in the world of hunters, divers, photographers, and conservationists. It has made the transformation from what some considered a questionable new concept to a tried and proven technology. Many Hecs users say they simply will not go in the field without it. One of the truly exciting directions that Hecs has made great advancements in is in the underwater world. Here, marine biologist and world-renowned shark expert Riley Elliott talks about his experiences using Hecs technology.
When I first found out about the Hecs technology, I immediately saw the value it would add to my science. Being a shark biologist, specialized in shark behavior, I registered that if I was able to block one of the major sensors that these animals use to detect whether you're a predator or prey, there'd be obvious value in that. Sharks being the pin-up boy of electroreception, applying a Faraday cage to my body's signal was obvious for me. And when I used it in field studies, I clearly observed less threatened, more natural interactions with these animals, as if I wasn't there. And in science, objectivity is key, especially when it comes to animal behavior. In my recreational diving life, I was very interested to apply the Hecs technology to crayfish or lobster. Recent science has shown that they use electroreception to detect predators and prey and to navigate. Even though through science I thought that this may work, I was blown away by the interactions I had. The crayfish had no evasive response when their antennae touched me, and beyond that, I was having full-on interactions with these animals, to the point where I could even pick them up in my hand. This showed obvious value for recreational divers around the world in capturing these animals, but for me personally, it was just amazing to see how technology like this was allowing me to have these closer, more natural animal interactions.
Hecs is also becoming known as a vital innovation in the world of conservationists, wildlife photographers, and animal handlers. Animal biologist and world-renowned wildlife expert Forrest Galante discusses the Hecs benefits to the conservation-minded people across the globe.
Hi, I'm wildlife biologist Forrest Galante, and I'm here today to tell you about the amazing Hecs technology and all of the benefits that it has with our friends the wildlife. Hecs is a conductive carbon grid that's woven into high-quality garments. What it does is it blocks the body's naturally occurring electrical energy signal. By holding that signal in capacity, it allows you to have a more natural, more neutral, organic encounter in the outdoors. It reduces stress on the environment and the animals that live in it. No matter where I am, when I'm working with wildlife, I rely on Hecs technology to reduce my impact so that the animals are released unharmed and have a happy, healthy life.
As you can see, the Hecs journey has a lot of miles behind it and tens of thousands of dedicated Hecs enthusiasts worldwide. But the exciting part is the miles that lay ahead. Hecs continues to learn ways that their technology can truly make a difference and in the end provide better, closer and safer interaction with the creatures that call our world home.